I guess we'll make a tier list. I look exhausted. Howdy. Let's do a tier list. We're doing the Wizard multi-class tier list today. This is a very important tier list because, as we all know, Wizard is the best class in the game. I look and feel exhausted. I'm tired today. I'm just gonna let you know, I'm quite tired. I have ran errands all day. And I ran him on skateboard, which, cause you know, I'm a fucking teenager apparently. I'm a rapscallion, obviously. Naturally, doing things on skateboard means using your body, and I've been inside for a long time. My body broke. Weak body. I've got the respiratory system of a dying vacuum. And if you want to know what I was running errand for, I'm building a Magic the Gathering deck. I'm building a commander deck. My friends and I are doing a budget league. It's gonna be awesome. If you guys want to, once the deck arrives, you want me to break it down and show you it, I can. Well, actually, you know, I'm not nearly as good at Magic as I am at D&D, but you know, it might be fun. Might be a fun video. We'll see. We'll see. But let's get into it. So today, what is this tier list? I've already said the Wizard multi-class tier list. That is right, we're doing the Wizard multi-class tier list. Now, a few things that I should let you know about the Wizard. The Wizard is easily the best class in the game. This is kind of inarguable at this point. It's kind of solved, as it were. The Wizard just is incredibly good, and there's frankly nothing I can really do about it. It's too good. It's such a crazy good class that it's kind of hard to rank in this multi-class tier list, because how I rank things in my multi-class tier list is the following. I will usually start by setting the main class, doing a full levels in that particular class as the baseline, and then from there we will compare every other class combo in comparison to it. So like if we're doing Druid, and let's just say I was to say something ridiculous like a Druid Wizard was better than a full Wizard, I'd put it above, and if it was worse than a full wizard, I'd put it below. But the thing is that full wizard is the best class in the game. It's one of the best class combos in the game. So ranking it's gonna be especially difficult, but all the same, we're gonna try. Basically means I have to do the following. Full wizard is god tier. I want to say it's not. I want to, but I can't. I physically can't, because full wizard is just that good. It's so potent. It's so powerful. Full wizard can do everything that you want a class to do and more. If you want to do damage, you can do damage with full wizard. If you want to do control casting, you can do control casting. If you want to do utility stuff and roleplay gimmicks, you can do that with the wizard. If you want to do fucking tanking, you can. Abjuration wizard is one of the hardest classes to kill in the game. Do you want to polymorph like a wild shape like a druid? Yeah, you got polymorph, and at 9th level you have true polymorph. So you can turn yourself into a dragon who has shape change, so you can shape change into other creatures. You can do everything. It's everything in this game. It's absolutely everything. Frankly, can't put things above a full wizard, because a full wizard is arguably one of the best things in the game. I can only put things at that level. So with that being said, probably about time that we got into the actual tier list. Starting with the Artificer. The Artificer is a really solid class on its own, and comboing it with Wizard can provide some unique opportunities to you. The Artificer is a half-caster. It is the intelligence-based half-caster, and it gets access to a lot of different options. It gives access to healing, it gives access to damage, it gives access to... It allows you to use your intelligence modifier for your weapon attack rolls, so it can be quite good comboing Artificer with Bladesinger. However, it's not really, it's definitely not better than a full wizard. Is it equal to or okay as? I can see you choosing to go Artificer Wizard for some builds. Now, for those who don't know, the Battlesmith Artificer allows you to use, when you are making weapon attacks with magical weapons, you can use your intelligence modifier for the attack rolls, meaning that you only need to focus on your intelligence. So that can be quite useful on Bladesinger builds, for example, for more melee-focused wizard builds. But then again, like, it's hard to justify that for one build. Other issue with Artificer is that most of its best class features you get very late into the progression. You get it like level 9, level 7. Like, I think level 7 is Flash of Genius, which is a really good support ability. Flash of Genius allows you to, as a reaction, you can add your intelligence modifier to someone else's saving throw, and that's a really good ability. You can use it on yourself too. Once again, it's kind of just okay. It's not amazing, and if you go too deep into it, you're not going to get those high level spell slots that you frankly need with a wizard. If you can basically go no further than 17th level than 3 levels in Artificer, because as a wizard, you can now, at 17th level, you can cast Wish. Don't know what Wish does, or you don't have Wish, get Wish. Wish allows you to cast any other spell in the entire game as an action. That's really good. That allows you to do insane stuff like casting Simulacrum. It usually takes 12 hours to cast that. You now can cast it instantaneously and have a Simulacrum there all of a sudden, which is another version of you which acts on your turn in accordance with your verbal commands. So you can coordinate with your Simulacrum to do some really insane stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff you can do with a wizard. So I feel like I'm gonna rank the Artificer for now in A tier. It's the other intelligence-based class, so I'm gonna put it in A tier just because it does reduce the amount of attribute requirements you need. Oh! Reminder, okay, just so we all are aware of the terms of multiclassing. In order to multiclass into a new class, you must meet the multiclassing prerequisites of that class and your old one. So the multiclassing prerequisites for a wizard is 13 in intelligence. And whenever I bring up the new class, when we start talking about it, I will put on the screen what the multiclassing prerequisites are for that class. So with that being said, I think Artificer's A tier. I haven't thought about it too hard, but it does give you more options. And if you don't go too deep, you can still get all of the really good wizard options. Next, we have Barbarian. Now, Barbarian is kind of the antithesis to a caster. Barbarian gives you some class, is a usually applied on melee classes. Its main feature being its Rage. Rage is a class feature in which you can give yourself resistance to certain types of damage. Base Rage is you give yourself resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. That's all like the physical damage types, but some Barbarian's class features allow you to extend your rage or give resistance to other types of damage to other people. Additionally, it can give you, if you take the bear totem, the totem of the bear Barbarian, you can give yourself resistance to all damage except psychic. So you can do some really cool stuff with Barbarian. However, important note about the Rage. The Rage, while you are raging, you cannot cast spells or concentrate on spells. That's not good, considering you're a wizard. A lot of the things that wizards do is concentrate on spells that control the battlefield. Things like Wall of Force, for example, are really important at maintaining control of the battlefield. So Barbarian, it's hard, it's a very tricky class. I would say it's a really hard to argue class that having any levels of Barbarian is good, I would say, for a wizard, because it can get in the way of a lot of the things. As far as panic options go, there are frankly better panic options available for a wizard. For example, if someone's trying to hit you with a weapon attack, casting shield's a great option. If someone's trying to hit you with other types of damage, you can usually avoid that with a spell. If someone's hitting you with elemental damage, absorb elements can give you resistance to the damage type that is trying to hurt you, of all like the more elemental damage types. So with the wizard spell list, you can already cover a lot of what Barbarian does. Now you might argue unarmored defense is really good, and it's okay. Barbarian unarmored defense gives you a new way to calculate your armor class. It says that you may now calculate your armor class as 10 plus your dex plus your constitution modifier, which is pretty good. Dex and constitution is something that wizards you rely upon. Additionally, you can use a shield while using this unarmored defense, meaning you can potentially give yourself a 22 armor class. However, a wizard has mage armor. Now, mage armor allows you to give yourself 13 plus your dex mod as your armor class, and if you get a feat, you can give yourself a proficiency in shields, allowing you to get an armor class of 20. This is effectively the same. You can use shield as upon being hit with a weapon attack to up that even further. Another important note is that an important thing that wizards provide to a party is they allow the party to keep up with the rest of the spell casting that's happening. So if you are facing enemy spellcasters and you enter your rage prior to ending your turn to give yourself resistance to the incoming damage, all of a sudden you can't cast counterspell. So whatever you're facing can freely cast spells and potentially really fuck up your party because you didn't want to take damage. That's not good, especially considering you could have avoided the damage entirely with a clever use of your counterspell. Barbarian, it's just hard to justify it being any better than, I would frankly say, C tier. I would say because there's a single niche use case, I can't put it in D, but it's not looking great for Barbarian, frankly. Next up, we have the Bard. The Bard is another great class. Its multiclass prerequisite is a 13 in Charisma. Now, the Bard is the first full caster that we have encountered on this list. And full casters we gotta treat kind of differently from the rest of this. This means that you can still maintain your spell slot progression when you multiclass. You just don't get access to potentially some of the spells that you have slots for. The Bard spell list is mediocre. It's mediocre up until you get magical secrets, which you get after 10th level, and since this is a wizard multiclass tier list, we're never going to be talking about magical secrets in this. Thankfully though, most of the spells you would try to get with magical secrets you can already get because you're a wizard. Doesn't that work out well, huh? The main features that you'd probably want with a Bard Wizard multiclass is, the Bard Wizard multiclass I would assume is expertise and bardic inspiration. Expertise allows you to double the proficiency bonus for a skill of your choice. That can be quite useful. Additionally, bardic inspiration is a really useful feature to give to your allies. It ups the saving throws of your allies. You can give them a d6 at the levels that you'd probably multiclass into with Bard. And they can roll that on their saving throws, and you can buff your allies. Additionally, if you go 3 levels into Bard, you can become an Eloquence Bard. Eloquence Bards can use their bardic inspiration to subtract from the saving throws of their opponents, allowing you to be a more competent wizard. If you couple this with being a divination wizard, you can have 4 portents and as many and potentially, and depending on your charisma modifier, you can have a bunch of bardic inspirations to completely debilitate the opponents. And if you have a simulacrum up, that's double all of the resources. This can be a very troublesome build combo. Now, is it better than a full wizard? No. It's better than Artificer. I would even argue that it's close to being on par with full wizard, especially considering what you can get. You can get a bunch of really good stuff to help out your team, and you know, there are some niche cases. It can also make you more efficient in roleplay, and really close. I'm gonna put it bottom of God tier for now. I'm gonna put it bottom of God tier for now because I think that it might raise later, might lower later, but I think for now it's God tier. Next up, we have the next full caster, the Cleric. The multiclass prerequisite for Cleric is a 13 in Wisdom. Clerics are really good. Clerics are solid. Clerics have a pretty decent spell list, and coupled with Channel Divinities, they can do some really crazy stuff. Like Path to the Grave Cleric can give vulnerability to every single damage type for the next attack. That can be crazy good. There's a bunch of cool stuff you can do with Cleric. It's another full caster. Its spell list is okay, and it can allow the wizard to do some more healing stuff, but I don't really think the roles are that complementary. I don't think that clerics really have a complementary spell list to the wizard. You can kind of just do a bit more stuff. You still maintain your spell slot progression, so that's useful at the very least. But I don't know, it's kind of, it's okay, it's okay. It's just kind of like, everything that you can do with a cleric, you can kind of already do with a wizard other than heal, and you can kind of support. This is why this is so hard, because everything that a class can do, it's like, they can do like one extra thing. They don't add a whole other aspect to the wizard. They give it like a single better thing. Like the Bard only allowed it to gave the wizard the ability to support its allies and heal. The Cleric allows it to do a very similar thing, except it doesn't have all the expertise, but it does have Channel Divinities. So it's like, I feel like the use case for a Wizard Cleric is less than a Wizard Bard. So I'm gonna put Wizard Cleric in A tier for now. Wizard Druid. Okay, we're getting through a bunch of the full casters. We're gonna go through a bunch of marshals after this, and it's gonna get depressing. Wizard Druid, I would say, is actually the worst combo out of these full casters we've done so far. It's still not bad. You still have full caster elements to your character. You still can do all the stuff that a caster should do, but just the only thing that a wizard really adds is Wild Shape. And unless you go, I believe, 3 levels into the Druid class, your wild shape can only be used to transform into teeny tiny animals. Now, like I said, you are a level potentially 17, 20 wizard, and even at lower levels, you can still transform yourself into teeny tiny animals with stuff like polymorph. So even at lower levels, the utility that a druid provides to a wizard multiclass is very small. And at high levels, it's completely irrelevant. You might say, well, it might be nice to have some sort of companion like we see with the wildfire druid or the supportive capabilities of the stars druid. But once again, that's like one thing. Is it really worth that? So I'm going to put druid in. I feel like Druid is B tier. It's pushing C. It's pushing C tier for me. I'm gonna keep it in B for now because it's still a full caster, but it's not nearly good enough in my opinion. Next, the Fighter. The Fighter, full disclosure, my favorite class in the game. Additionally, I think it's one of the few martials that you could justify classing with the Wizard because of action surge. Now, I'm tired. I'm very tired. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this because I always do this. Because I know what my comment section already looks like. I'm gonna mention action surge and casting spells, and I can already smell people misquoting the bonus action clause on page 202 of the player's handbook at me. So just for your pleasure, I have my player's handbook right here. We're gonna go through page 202 together. It's gonna be a journey, right? You're wondering why I have the page memorized? I look at it a lot. I have to deal with a lot of stupid comments. Page 202, casting time. In the bonus action section, a spell cast with a bonus action is especially swift. You must use a bonus action on your turn to cast the spell, provided that you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn. You can't cast another spell during the same turn except for a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. That's the phrase that everybody gets confused on. Everyone seems to quote that as if it's referring to all spells, but it's not. It's very specifically referring to bonus actions. If you cast a spell as a bonus action, then you can't cast a leveled spell on your turn unless it's a cantrip. That's what it's saying. And unless you are willing to completely take the rules of English language and bend them over your knee and actually break the game. You will break the game if you interpret the rules this way, the way that most people do. You will break the game. If you are willing to break the game, then do what you want. And you might say, how does that break the game? Well, if that's the case, if whenever they don't specify something is how we rule these things, let's go turn to the fighter class. Why don't we, huh? Why don't we turn to the fighter class and see what bullshit we can start doing because, you know, they don't specify things all the time. Combat superiority. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you may learn maneuvers that are fueled by special dice called superiority dice. That seems reasonable. A few paragraphs down, you see you learn 2 additional maneuvers of your choice at 7th, 10th, and 15th level. Oh, so if I just pick this up for 3rd level, every time my character reaches level 7, 10, and 15, regardless of the level in the fighter class, I get more maneuvers, right? Because we ignore context. Do you see how we're ignoring context of, like, the paragraphing and syntax makes these, the game not work? And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Take Jeremy Crawford's word for it. The guy who wrote the game. But that specific phrase is only present in the bonus action section paragraph. It's got a title above it that says bonus action. It says bonus action throughout the paragraph. It says bonus action the sentence immediately before it. So unless you are willing to completely break the game, it's referring to bonus actions. You can action surge and cast 2 leveled spells in a turn. Closed case. Anyway, fighter good. Fighter is really good. Now I think 2 levels of fighter can go a long way in a full level 20 wizard build. Additionally, at lower levels, it can really clinch some fights. Having that action surge, the ability to just double up on the spell you just cast, can do some really potent stuff if you have the spell slots available. This is how you can do some crazy stuff. With just a single round of setup with Spirit Shroud, you can do like 400 damage in a single turn with this simple multi-class. It's crazy. There are some really great fighting styles that you can add to your class. A lot of the fighting styles have to do with like with melee stuff, but there are some that don't. For instance, the superior technique fighting style allows you to take a battle master technique and to add that to your potential collection. One of the Battle Master techniques allows you to add a superiority dice to your initiative roll. This can allow your wizard to improve in probably one of their weaker areas, their initiative, allowing them to more consistently go first and set up really potent field effects. Additionally, if you go 3 levels in fighter, I think there are actually some options that might be worth considering. For example, the Rune Knight. The Rune Knight has a really good class feature called Cloud Rune. It allows you, if you are hit with an attack roll or an ally is hit with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to make the attack roll hit another target. And all of the effects of that attack are applied. This is really, really good. This can allow you to do some insane potent stuff. This completely prevents the damage that was about to be applied to you, and it does damage to an opponent potentially if there are multiple combatants in the fight. That's really good. That's a really good support ability. Additionally, Eldritch Knight can give you some stuff maybe if you're a Blade Singer. So I think this is a really good option. I think that the fighter is a really solid option. It's not a full caster. I would put it, since it adds a whole other aspect to the character, I would put it above Bard, but below full Wizard. That's my opinion. Next, we have the Monk. Monk. What are we gonna do with you? Monk is not good. Now, I would like to make a statement at this point. Just because I say that your favorite class combo isn't good does not mean you should stop playing it. Because you play that class combo for reasons other than its ability to do damage or be effective in combat. You play that because you are attached to it, because you have emotions and memories attached to it that make you like it. And when I say an option or a combo is bad, this isn't me saying that you're going to be a hindrance to your party. Any class combo can be effective and aid the party in your adventures throughout whatever realm your dungeon master has cooked up for you. However, a monk wizard multiclass is not good as an option. There are better options available to you if you want to be more effective in melee. But just to drive home the point, let's discuss. So what feature? The monk requires you to have a 13 in dex and a 13 in wisdom. So wisdom is one of those things that you're probably not going to be focusing on that too much. The dex you might have because you want to improve your AC. So what class features do monks give you? They give you unarmored defense. We've already been through this feature with the Barbarian, but the monk's one is slightly different. You can't use a shield. And also, it relies on a stat that you're probably not even going to give a shit about. Wisdom. You see, with the Barbarian unarmored defense, it relied on dexterity and constitution. Upping your constitution ups your health as well. That's useful. Upping your wisdom ups your passive perception, I guess, which is fine, but it's not as applicable as health. I guess your passive perception to, I don't know, maybe a 15. Yay. Going from 10 constitution to 18 constitution, which will give you a +4, gives you an extra 80 health. That's a lot. Going from 10 wisdom to 18 wisdom gives you an extra 4 passive perception. That's improving your chances of success at seeing something by 20%. Additionally, the monk's unarmored defense doesn't allow the use of a shield, meaning that it is worse than mage armor. So let's think about it like this. If you were to be a monk wizard and use the unarmored defense, you need to up your dex to max and your wisdom to max, and you'd need a good intelligence. That is now 3 stats that you need in order to be effective. Additionally, you can't use a shield. If you wanted to, say, for instance, not be a monk wizard and still have the same armor class, some of those ASIs that you put into upping your wisdom, you can instead put into giving yourself a feat, which gives you proficiency in the shield, and you can have the exact same armor class at 20 with a max dex. On top of that, you're gonna still have some ASIs left over to up your int even further, or give yourself even more feats to make you more effective at combat. So an armor defense is a useless feature on the wizard. Additionally, what other features you get? Martial arts. I don't think I need to explain why this isn't good on a wizard. I get it, it's not. It's funny, but it's not good. Next, the next thing you get, you can potentially get the key points. Key points can be useful. So what can you use your key points for at 2nd level? Flurry of blows, more punching people, which you aren't gonna be doing. Next thing you can do, Step of the Wind. Oh, bonus action movement is nice, right? Well, Yeah, but it's only an extra 30 feet, and you can already do that with Misty Step, and it's teleportation. Additionally, you also have, if you really need to move somewhere fast, you can just teleport there. If there's somewhere on the battlefield that you need to get to, you can just use Dimension Door and get there. And even if at lower levels, you're probably better off teleporting to where you need to get to not provoke opportunity attacks in the first place. So that's kind of not a good feature. Then we have Patient Defense. That's actually not bad. I will give you that. Patient Defense is a good feature because it allows you to take the dodge action as a bonus action. The dodge action makes it so that all attacking creatures have disadvantage on their attack rolls, and you have advantage on dexterity saving throws. However, there is a spell called Blur, which you can cast on yourself, which makes all enemies attack you at disadvantage. So the only thing that's really giving you is advantage on dexterity saving throws, which is... We've gone 2 levels into a class, and the only thing we're getting from it is advantage on dex saves. That's not good. Additionally, as we continue to go through this, you'll start to notice a trend. Every single monk feature can be replicated by a wizard spell. The slow fall feature can be replicated by feather fall. Stunning strike. Hey, that one can't be replicated because there's a better feature called a spell called hypnotic pattern, which incapacitates an enemy for an indefinite amount of time, completely potentially removing them from the fight. Or if it's a humanoid, you can cast Hold Person. Or if it's a monster, you could cast Hold Monster. And maybe not at as low a level, I'll give you that. But there's better options. Hypnotic Pattern can incapacitate up to 6 people. You can also do the same thing with the Sleep Spell. The Sleep Spell can knock people out for up to a minute. And there's no save attached. For the monk to get off their Stunning Strike, they have to hit with a weapon attack, and they have to spend key points, and the opponent has to fail a Constitution saving throw. That's 2 separate things and a resource spent. That's so much. It's so much. It's so much effort that you have to do. And this is in the context of a multi-class. I mean, everybody knows wizard's better than monk in the general sense. So what is this monk adding to the wizard? Nothing. It's taking away from the wizard, which is precisely why monk is at the bottom of B tier. Next, we have Paladin. Paladin is not bad. It's not bad on a wizard, I would say. There's some fun stuff you can do with Blade Singers where you can efficiently just smite on every single attack that you use with Booming Blade and a weapon attack. It's okay. There's some builds that I can see you doing with it, but the really good Paladin features isn't actually Divine Smite, it's the Paladin auras. It's the ability to add your Charisma modifier to all of your saving throws and all of your ally saving throws, and then potentially some additional effects depending on your subclass. But if you're doing that, that means you aren't a full wizard, which means you're worse than a full wizard, because a full wizard is just too good. So I would say that there's some neat stuff you can do, but I wouldn't say it's worthwhile. It changes how you have to play the game. If you're going for the better Paladin features, you're basically just a Paladin with way more smite slots. So I would say it's at the top of B tier. You know, maybe bottom of A. Maybe bottom of A. Paladin is a good class, and you can really support your allies. It does change the way you have to play the game, though. It can allow you to do some pretty good damage while also supporting your allies, and replicating effects that spells cannot. So I would say it's pretty good. I'd say it's a solid bottom of A tier. Next, we have the Ranger. I am a big supporter of the Ranger, but I just can't argue for it being anywhere above C. It just doesn't give you enough. The Gloomstalker is arguably the best subclass for Ranger, and it's still not great in this case. The spells are okay. Getting more spell slots is nice. Pass Without Trace is one of the best spells in the game, so I'll put it with the Druid and B. No, it's worse than the Druid. Top of C tier. Next, we have the Rogue. Now, here's something that I could argue you might like. The Rogue, taking a few levels of Rogue, taking like 2 or 3 can make your wizard feel a little bit better to play. Taking 2 levels in Rogue can give you Cunning Action, which can allow you to take the Dodge, Disengage, or Hide action as a bonus action. I think that's 3 levels of Rogue, actually. But that can allow you to do some really fun stuff. You can now hide as a bonus action. That's really fun. That's really fun, and you can hide pretty consistently. You could argue that being able to cast Invisibility infinitely would be better, but you still can't hide technically. You're just unseen. So you can still potentially be targeted with the spell magic if someone sees where you are, especially if they have Tremor Sense or something. it gives you a different way that you have to think about your play style. If you plan on playing some sort of sneaky wizard, getting Arcane Trickster can be really useful. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with a rogue. There's a lot of really fun stuff you can do with a rogue on a wizard. You can give it yourself better initiative rolls. You can Booming Blade sneak attack. And although it's going to be a minuscule amount of extra damage, it's still funny. There's some stuff you can do. Expertise is nice, but I don't think it's that great. I'm going to put it top of B tier. There's a lot of, once again, another class that can have a lot of its features replicated by wizard stuff, though the stuff that you can get is arguably better to be able to do more consistently. Next, we have the Sorcerer. This is a rough one. I have dunked on sorcerers in the past because they are effectively just worse versions of the wizard. And like they simply are just worse versions of the wizard. They have worse spell list, they have less subclasses, they can't learn spells as easily, they don't get nearly as many spells that they can cast. This wizard can change them out on the day, sorcerers can only change them out every level up. They're simply a worse version of a wizard. So, but with that being said, getting access to meta magic can be quite nice. However, you can do that with a feat. And you're not going to be going too many levels into Sorcerer. In fact, you need to go 3 levels into Sorcerer before you even get meta magic. Whereas you could instead go full 20 and still get meta magic via feat, and you'd get 2 sorcery points. Or if you only go 3 levels in Sorcerer, you're only getting 3 meta magic. And you don't want to go more than that because then you don't get your 9th level spell. You get the spell slot, but you don't get the spell. Really tricky. I would say there's some unique stuff you can do with the Sorcerer. I'd say there's some stuff, but I'd say it's only marginally better. I'd say it's above the Rogue because at the very least you learn more spells innately and you get more cantrips, as well as getting access to some unique stuff with the Sorcerer subclasses and meta magic. But then again, it's still not I wouldn't justify it entirely. Next up, we have the Warlock, the last class. Now, the Warlock is very weird when ranking. You see, all of the other classes that get access to spells, they had a feature called spellcasting. That means when you're calculating how many spell slots you have, you go to page 165 in the player's handbook, and you basically add your levels together to get the appropriate amount of slots depending on the type of class. Paladin's a half caster. That means that you add your levels divided by 2 rounded down. Wizards are full casters, so you just add your full level. Warlocks get a feature called Pact Magic. Pact Magic gives you packed spell slots. Packed spell slots do not add to spellcasting spell slots. You get packed slots back on short rests. You get spell slots back on long rests. So as a result, Warlocks don't actually add to the overall spell slots that your wizard has. They do, however, get invocations, and invocations can be quite powerful. Invocations can allow you to cast some spells infinitely, saving you tons on resources, such as mage armor, and at higher levels, even invisibility, though you're never going to get that in a wizard Warlock multiclass. Additionally, a wizard Warlock with Bladesinger, and can do one of the most powerful class feature combos in the game, Bladesinger extra attack plus Eldritch Blast. You see, the Bladesinger extra attack feature allows you to make a weapon attack and cast a cantrip as part of the same action. That means that you can make a weapon attack and cast Eldritch Blast, all part of the same action, and that's really good. You can start doing more damage than whole tiers of play above you. A level 8 wizard Warlock can do more damage than a level 11 fighter sometimes. It's crazy. However, this is a very niche case. There's only some times that you would do it. So I'm gonna put this... I don't know. I'm gonna put this in B tier, I think. It's good, but it's not that good. It changes the way you play. But it doesn't really affect you either. It just kind of helps you out. I'm gonna put it above Paladin. Above Paladin, it's a solid class. It gives you some solid class features. Some of the things that you can get can be quite useful. Some of the utility you can get out of your pact boons can also be quite nice, and can really actually build on top of what wizards can already do. So this is the tier list. What do you guys think? I think this is pretty good. If you do have a rebuttal, I ask 2 things. First of all, like and subscribe. Second of all, if you do actually have a rebuttal, don't refer to me with homebrew. I've had a few people and magic items involved. I didn't consider homebrew and magic items when making the tier list, so don't refute it by using homebrew and magic items. And if you're including homebrew, that just completely throws the whole balance of the game out the window. I have no idea why you would do that. Refute it with what's in the game, you know? Because as much as you think magic items would help your argument, magic items help my argument equally as much. That's the thing. That's the reason why I don't consider them, really. It's because if your argument for why the monk wizard is is really good is because it requires a magic item of a rare of legendary or rareness, that I can easily make the wizard better with equally powerful magic items. But this is the tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Did you know that only like 10% of my viewers are subscribed? If you aren't subscribed and you watch me, why don't you just hit that subscribe button? It helps me out a lot. It helps me grow. I would like to grow this community to 300,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think that'd be so cool. And I just want to continue to grow as a YouTuber, and that goes a long way. Additionally, if you want to support me further, please join my Patreon. All my patrons get my videos 24 hours early. So if you'd like to join that illustrious crew, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Anyway, that is all. So with all that being said, with this tier list being done and dusted, once again proving wizard dominance, unfortunately. That is all. Get the fuck out of my house, I guess.